Greetings.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Birmingham.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a good time yesterday in Birmingham.
Where'd you go?
I went downtown and I walked around. I went to the Casket Museum.
It's very popular.
Yep. Yep.
You want to try the art museum?
They didn't look that
Special?
comfy though. I was hoping to see one that was like actually was like calling my name, you know, like something I could like lay down and stretch out in. But they're like, you know what they were like? They were like first class seating in a major airline. They're all narrow. You have no room. You got plenty of leg room, but there's no shoulder and ass room. You know, you got to have more, be able to spread out and comfy and soft, cushiony. That's what I like.
So did John do have more room in his?
Oh, indeed he did.
I mean, Michael, talking about Yondu, of all the great characters that Marvel have given us, and particularly in the Guardians universe, Yondu seems to be just an instant fan favourite. Can you talk about what you love most about the character, and particularly the second film, the way in which James grew and developed him?
Well, the second film was an absolute continuation of the first one. So if you watch them back to back, it's almost as if, well, you could watch them back to back without any kind of issues. Like, oh, the first one was this, the second one was this. No. They really flow and work very well as one continuous film. And I remember us talking about things in the first one, and you know, backstory and motivational things. You know, why Yondu would want to do a certain thing or not a certain thing, and then in the second one, a lot of the backstory that we were talking about and developing in the first one ended up being actual manifest in the second one. So, which was very cool to see. You don't usually get the opportunity to do that as an actor. You know, get to talk about your development and talk about maybe what's going on, backstory and all that kind of stuff, and then do another movie and actually get to do it, you know. So that was very cool.
Do you find a new generation of younger people are coming to your work now, because they won't be familiar with things like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, will they? But they more be familiar with Yondu, Guardians of the Galaxy. Are you seeing your fan base change, I suppose, is the question?
My fan base has changed quite a lot, especially with the my casting in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, of course.
You're on the tube, you call it over here, right? The TV.
Yeah.
And you're there every week, and you become a sort of a household name, and that sort of stuff. And so that's what happened with The Walking Dead. For me, Merle Dixon was quite a fun role for me. Very politically incorrect kind of guy. You know, and so he'd almost say and do anything practically, but and so you know, people I think you really you were very into Merle Dixon. You did. I'm not sure if you would be for Merle or against Merle. You didn't think whatever you thought about him. You were like, whenever Merle Dixon came on screen, you were glued to the screen, which is very cool, to get a lot of younger a bigger fan base because of that show, and it's just continued. With that, after leaving that show, I went on to do Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a very highly popular film, and then Volume 2, of course, which, you know, very similar events happened from The Walking Dead. You know, Merle Dixon dies in a very kind of heroic kind of stance, you know, and the same thing happened in Volume 2, you know, and so. And very similar responses from fans. You know, they cried, they were upset. A lot of emotions went through both of those characters' deaths, and I think because of that, you know, I got a whole nother group of fans.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so that it's very quite interesting how things, you know, your career changes and grows and develops, and you know, I've been very pleased and very happy for those changes. So.
Flipping back to Merlin the Walking Dead for a second, did you have any inkling of how big this show was going to get? I mean, it's been a very big comic on the scene, and you had Frank Darabont in to direct the first series. And did you have this feeling that Walking Dead was going to be a big hit?
Yes. Walking Dead was not before I was cast, or even when I had been cast. I was like, "Oy, I don't know if people are I don't know if Middle America is going to dig this." But boy, oh boy, they did. They really enjoyed it, and they enjoyed it immensely. So I was very surprised by it and pleased. Yeah.
I think with Guardians, obviously the goodbye scene between Peter and Yondu, I think really hit people because it was one of the most emotional and one of the only proper deaths we've seen in the Marvel Universe. Can you talk about working with Chris on that film and both that scene and some of the more comedic moments? I think the Mary Poppins line is, again, another fan favourite.
Yeah, you know, the Mary Poppins line was a fan favourite, and honestly, Chris sets that up extremely well. I mean, without Chris's comments, the Mary Poppins line would just be a standalone kind of line. But with his comment, along with my response, is what made that line absolutely go crazy with fans. They loved it. It was a beautiful moment, and the entire crew loved it because they broke up in laughter, you know, almost every time we did the take. And so, and you know, the second part of your question.
Well, I guess on the flip side, that's such a beautiful moment, and then so soon afterwards, we have this incredibly painful moment losing Yondu. Can you talk about going from one to the other?
Well, that's James Gunn. For me, acting-wise, it was, you know, it's all like you just sort of play it as the character. You don't know what's going to happen, you know. Right? You're just going through your life, right? You're doing the things you need to do. Right, and so I'm not thinking about that end scene when I'm doing the Mary Poppins, that sequence. I try to keep it as simple as I can. I don't try to think about other things while I'm in the moment of that scene. The hard part with film work is that they film out of sequence. So I wasn't sure, even in the beginning of my career, you mentioned Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. That movie, I ended up doing that movie simply because I wanted to see if I could even do this film work. It just seems so strange to have to jump, do the ending before you're doing the beginning and all that kind of stuff. And you're flipping and flopping all over the place, right? And I wasn't even sure if I was going to be good at it, or if it was going to be even rewarding for me as an artist, right?
That must have been a big breakout film,
right?
That even now, people of my era remember that.
Yeah.
Visceral it was as well.
People do still remember that movie quite well, you know, and new people are seeing that movie now, which is very interesting to me. And but to finish with your question, I sort of take it a moment at a time, and so it was a beautiful sequence. It was written quite well. It was set up geniusly, and it made James Gunn makes it easy for the actors to be open and honest and real in the moment with his projects.
Does
So
this mean you're going
very
to
lucky.
make an appearance in the new Mary Poppins?
It's a good question.
No, that doesn't mean anything like that. Did I say something that insinuated? No, I'm not in that movie.
Comes out on Christmas Day, you know, it'd be nice present.
Unfortunately, you should have been. One thing that was beautiful to see in Guardians as well was you getting a chance to work with Sylvester again. It's great to see you guys on screen. How was that?
We had a great little scene together, yeah. You know, if you remember in Cliffhanger, I was the one yelling at him. In this one, he was the one yelling at me. So it was just we just flipped a little bit. it was really great to see him.
So going back to your earlier film career, when you were in Mallrats, did this kind of give you an inkling of your comic book, the size of the comic book industry and working on a comic
Oh yeah,
book
yeah, yeah. I
film?
knew the comic book industry is massive, dude. The gaming industry is massive.
Yeah.
And we are only now just beginning to be able to utilize our technology to bring these things to life. And it's only going to get bigger and better and sweeter, you know, because we're going to be able to do. I mean, look at what you're seeing on the screen now. It's that all that technology is only going to make grow and make it simpler and easier and cheaper for filmmakers to bring almost anything to life and have it look very natural and very realistic.
And are you still afraid of chocolate-covered pretzels?
Oh no, I've never been afraid of chocolate-covered pretzels. As a matter of fact, on the contrary, I absolutely adore chocolate-covered pretzels, and I love them. Especially this is not an ad, but I love the Godiva chocolate-covered pretzels in the can. Dude, those are just killer. I could sit down and eat a whole can of those things in 10 minutes. No, love them, love them.
From the can, not from the hand.
Totally from the can, not from the hand, yeah.
I'm curious, can you talk a bit about the physical transformation you had to go through for Guardians, taking you from the handsome man in front of us to the blue mohawked creation we see in the film?
He's too smart.
He'll go far.
Way too smart. Okay, give me, what do you need?
Well, just talking about transforming physically for Yondu, because particularly in the second film with the prototype Finn, that was quite a burden, you know, physically for an actor.
It wasn't. The prototype Finn I thought was just as easy to put on as in the first film. As a matter of fact, it was so easy. I forgot it was on many times, you know, and forgot to duck. I literally almost knocked myself out several times.
Did you leave a trail of blue paint all over the set?
Huh?
Did you leave a trail of blue paint all over the set?
No, the paint did not, it didn't come off. You know, I could sweat through it. It was breathable. They took several months to develop the paint. I had 5-6 layers of different shades, different colors of paint on me. And they would do airbrushing it on. And so it was really quite thin, and as I said, it was breathable, and it did not even. The first time I had it on, I went out and did a jog. I went out running around up and down stairs just to work up a sweat to see what would happen with the paint. You know.
Did you get a lot of strange looks?
Oh yeah. So it was, but it was still top. But it was still top secret. So I had to run around the back lot and stuff, and got a good sweat going, and technically it was beautiful. You know, I could sweat. I was sweating. The paint was not, you know, dripping or anything. It didn't come off, and it was perfect. It took about 4 hours all total, 3.5, 4 hours.
Can we make this one whoever it is? The last question, please.
Sorry,
What if it's a bad question?
Well, then we're all
You
very
don't want
sad.
to end on a bad one. Go
I
ahead.
think it's on you guys.
can I just get you to cover that last point again, just talking about how long it was in the makeup? I'm sorry, just so we can...
Yeah, that's good. Oh, very good, very good. Well, the makeup for Yondu, as you know, we did 2 movies. The first installment, Guardians of the Galaxy, took about 4 hours, all total, with all the prosthetics, all the painting, and the wardrobe, everything about 4 hours. I was ready to go in 4 hours. We cut it by about 45 minutes in the second one, and I think we cut out one of the layers of paint and replaced it with a base layer of material that helped the removal happen quicker. So the base layer protected my skin, made this layer of paint on my skin, and it was, I don't know what it was made of, but it helped everything else come off easier. So we cut the time by 45 minutes to an hour. So it was, and the less time you're in the makeup chair, sometimes it gives you more time to prepare, get ready for the scene, get your wardrobe on, chill out a little bit before you go in and start working for the day, yeah.
How long was it to come off
It took about an hour and a half to get off. Unlike a movie I did called Slither, which is another James Gunn movie. That was a 7.5 hour makeup. Yeah, and it took about 2.5 hours to come off. Yeah. One last question, a really good one now. How about the kids? You got a question? Can I really whistle? Thank you guys. Appreciate it.